Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a really awesome new video for you, and also kind of a sad one at the same time. For those of you that have been following my channel for a while, you will recognize this knife. This is the Robert Carter and Nick Chuprin BBM. This was a knife that was originally designed by Robert, but when they got together, Nick put some magic into his CAD work and sort of stretched it out and then shrank it down and then made it a little bit thicker in this dimension. And he did some things to sort of balance out the design. And as we all know, this knife has been immensely popular, so much so that it is selling for 3, 4, etc. times more than its original table price sometimes. And so quite an impressive knife. I think that the reason for that is that the knife just looks amazing. I think that the design is extremely well balanced, and it took Nick Chuprin's design language to really bring out the potential of the knife. I have owned the original version of the BBM that was made by Rob. It was a 3.5-inch bladed knife, a little bit thinner, a little bit taller, a little bit longer in the handle, and it's had the same shape opening hole, hollow ground, but it did not have the fuller. Some of the BBMs from Rob and Nick didn't have the fuller either, but Nick decided it would look nice with the fuller, and so it was added to the design. Why am I telling you all of this? Well, guys, unfortunately, this knife right here no longer belongs to me. I have sold this knife because an incredible opportunity opened itself up, and someone offered me a price that I simply couldn't refuse on the knife. And so this now belongs to a good friend of mine. We've now talked a whole lot since he picked this up, and it's been very nice getting to know him. And I'm glad that it's going to a good guy where it's going to definitely be appreciated. So let's take one last minute to appreciate the OG BBM, the original green BBM as I call it, with its awesome blade shape, beautiful handle, 3D milled. Appreciate that back spacer. Also beautiful on the inside. And how the pocket clip is integrated into this design. And I love the green color. This knife was very special to me, and I custom ordered it, and it will be missed. However, I would not get rid of this knife without a very good reason, and I'm about to show you right now. If you want to take a look at this case right here, this actually came from Rob himself recently. He likes to draw these friendly smiley faces. It just makes me laugh. But on the inside of the case is an incredible custom BBM. Yes, indeed. This knife is a Robert Carter full custom BBM. This knife does not involve Nick Chuprin. However, it was made after the BBM here, the collab BBM, was designed and built. And so you can see he's now evolved his own personal design to reflect the success of the collab BBM. And right away you're going to see the size comparison between these two knives. Rob's knife remains a bit taller and it's now a bit thicker. I honestly like it a whole lot. The BBM here was right about on the small side for me, but just about perfect in my hand. And this one just makes it a little bit beefier in my hand, which is great. I have an extra large or size 8 sterile glove hand, and so it helps me to be a little bit between maybe 3.3 and 3.75. This one is right at 3 1/4. In any case, I wanted to just show you the immediate differences. Obviously, the materials are quite different, but just a small variation here and there to sort of create the knife that we're looking at right here. We'll bring the BBM back out as we do some size comparisons in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and get some vital signs on this guy. I'm going to wipe him off so that he looks nice for the camera. I refuse to wear gloves in my videos, but this Alpha Knife Supply Damascus does change colors when I touch it, so we'll just be aware of that. I'm going to bust out the ruler here. As you can see, the blade is still coming in right at about 3 1/4 inches, so it's more or less the same size. Overall, you're looking at 7.6 inches. The handle length is coming in right at about maybe 4.3, 4.4 inches with the same effective grip area. One of the things I love about the BBM is this open handle design. It really allows you multiple different grip positions, and it's extremely ergonomic, gives you a lot of control on the knife. In these dimensions here, the blade stock on this custom in this Chad Nichols low layer Sanmai right here is coming in at 188,000 stock. So very thick on the stock, but that's in true Rob Carter fashion. This is really a show knife, so and 0.52 on the handle thickness right there. 0.52 on that handle thickness. So a little bit over ½ inch, but nicely contoured. That's at its widest point right there. Let me bring out the scale and I can show you how much this guy weighs. We'll go ahead and get that tared right here. This is set in ounces. This knife has a ton of zirconium on it in this Alpha Knife Supply Black Damascus. Comes in right at 5 ounces. As a comparison, the original BBM came in at 3.2 ounces. So a significant amount heavier with all that zirconium that we see in there. But as we go through the knife, I think it's totally worth it. So let's go ahead and bring out another couple of knives for a size comparison. We definitely had the BBM, the original OG BBM here. We're going to line these up. I'll get you some raw measurements. As you can see, the full custom is a little bit bigger. This blade is coming in closer to 3 inches. Really and truly, this is more like a 3-inch blade. Really, this is 3 inches. This is going to be 3 1/4. This is about 7 inches overall. This one has 4 inches of handle, so 4 1/4 inches of handle up here, or 4.4 inches. So a slightly bigger knife, and I really do like that very much. Let's go ahead and bring out the good old standbys right here, the Spyderco Para 3 and Paramilitary 2. As you can see, the BBM slots right in between. We've got as much handle as the Para 3 with about as much blade as the Para 2. You know I like to see that. That's a whole lot of fun. What I'm going to do is bring out a few more Rob Carter knives because my collection has just been taking off recently and I've really been enjoying it. And this is definitely going to be a little bit of a show-off moment, but just bear with me as I show you the knives that I have been collecting recently. I'm going to put the BBM down here. You guys will remember I made a video here on the Robert Carter F16 in the tuxedo finish with the paper micarta and zirconium there. Well, recently I have also acquired a P40, a small P40. So this is a 3.5 inch. This is also a 3.5 inch. And then I've also acquired a Warfighter. This is a small Warfighter. You guys will remember I made a video on the SM100 Warfighter way back. You can search for that. I may leave a link for it down below. But I'm really happy that my Rob Carter collection has really exploded recently. And let's add to that all these awesome materials that we have here. As a matter of fact, the Warfighter and the P40 have matching black Robtanium clips. This is material that Rob forges himself so that he can make these knives. That's the one thing, that's one of the things that really impresses me, and one of the things that keeps me coming back to his knives is that he separates himself from a lot of other makers in the fact that he's also a blacksmith. He forges his materials and he puts them on his knives. Now this knife does not feature any of his sole authorship materials. However, it does have some pretty fancy stuff on it. So let's go ahead and move these other spectacular Carters off the screen. Maybe one day I will get a couple videos done on some more of these so you can enjoy those. But let's talk about the custom BBM now and break this knife down anatomically. Up front, you are looking at a blade of low layer XHP core Sanmai from Chad Nichols. As you'll see, there is a core running down the middle of this blade of CTS XHP, and it is clad with some Damascus. The core centering is not quite perfect on this knife. Some people use the lingo that this challenges the concept that the core needs to be centered because it still looks absolutely beautiful. And as you can see, the core does ripple through, and most of the cutting length has some of the core on it. What I have noticed is that this knife still cuts very well. I actually sent this knife to my good buddy Andrew Leek, who sharpened this on some stones, and it cuts like crazy. That is because it is hollow ground, and you can see how thinly this knife has been hollow ground. At 188,000 stock, it's incredibly thick, but look how thinly hollowed it is all the way out to the tip. It's got a beautiful harpoon, sort of drop point style blade shape, very standard curvature right here. This one does not have as prominent of a spanto type grind as the original BBM did. In fact, when I sent it to Andrew, it now has none. It was very subtle on this BBM. It was almost invisible on this one. And when Rob made a new one of these recently, it did not have any spanto to it. It had a full drop point. And so I've decided to leave it like this. It cuts a little bit better for me like this. I really enjoy still the opening hole right here. It's still just a joy. And in custom form, it's just a little bit beefier, a little bit nicer, a little bit heavier, just a little bit more luxurious. And it's an amazing, amazing feeling. Moving back to the pivot, this is running on some caged bearings inside there. This one features Rob's simple screw, but beautiful Damasteel pivot collars. I don't know the pattern for this. I wish that I had looked that up before, but it has the smallest little rosettes that you've ever seen, but they show through right there, even among the crazy patterns on the handle. We're going to move back and talk about that in a second, but this knife is incredibly smooth, even smoother than any of the collaborative BBMs. This one certainly has similar action to Rob's custom knives, perfectly tuned. Not too quick, not too slow, just that very easy, very smooth, glass smooth drop shut closure that doesn't require any effort. And that's incredible given that this is a black Damascus frame lock. That is quite a challenge to achieve with this material. Really, really good. The detent is perfectly tuned, just like the small one, for a nice spidey flick, which is incredibly enjoyable. Really and truly, it's dialed in perfectly, and it's right on center, and it's not loose, and oh my goodness, that's incredible. Let's go ahead and move back to these handles. This has been grabbing the attention of everyone the whole time, and I want to show you in clear detail what's going on. Let me wipe this off again. I refuse to wear gloves, but I will hold it with a cloth for just a second to show you this Alpha Knife Supply Black Damascus. This is the Evil Eye pattern. It's reflecting my phone right there. As you can see, it has these eye-shaped patterns, which actually plays in very well with the rosettes of the Damasteel and the pivot collars and the sweeping effect of the blade itself. I think that even though these three materials are very bright and brash, I do think that they somehow flow together quite well in this instance. As you can see, the frame side is fully made of black Damascus. Rob has taken extra special care to leave a good amount of the material here with some thick strands of titanium. He's also rounded off the lock bar cutout so that it reduces the stress on that. This one does not feature the same construction where it is a single screw that holds the back together. This one features a 2-screw system. As a matter of fact, it's a 4-screw system, as these both screw into a Chad Nichols Mokutai backspacer. Actually, no, excuse me. This is a zircutai. If you can see very closely as I zoom in, there is zirconium in that backspacer as well. But this is the Chad Nichols stuff. So this is an important distinction here. A lot of people don't understand the differences of who makes these materials and why we call them what we call them. There's a company called Alpha Knife Supply that makes Damascus products. That's their trademarked name. A lot of people use the word Damascus, but they have the licensed product. Chad Nichols makes Mokutai and Zircutai. That's what he calls the material. That's what the backspacer is. And I'm not sure. I think this may be, I'm not sure if this is Zircutai as well, or if this is some of the Alpha Knife Supply. This looks like more of the Damascus right here. But I know that this is Mokutai, and you can tell because it's a different pattern. It's got a bit of the waviness to it, and I just think that really sets it apart because you see the straight lines of the layered Damascus and then the wavy pattern of the Zircutai just adds a little contrast. Slightly lighter blue as well. Just really an incredible look with these hidden standoffs right here, this floating backspacer pattern. You can see that it's also got the milled lines here at the heel of the knife. Simply amazing. And if you look very closely, way deep inside there, can I see it? This orientation. If you look at this Am I going to be able to capture it? There's an RJC. Robert James Carter back there in the back. And that's really cool. At least I think it's James. I hope it's James. Oh my God. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Anyways, what can I say, guys? I have just taken one of my absolute favorite knives of all time, and that's this OG BBM. And I have found the ultimate version of that knife. This is the kind of collecting that I truly enjoy. I really don't think that it's great to collect grail knives that you don't really care about. I think that it's great when you find a knife that you love in a plain form, and then you get the most excellent version of that for you. I've done that with the Scout. I've done that with a couple of other knives, and I am thrilled to have done that with the BBM. I think this may be the best one that is out there, and I'm very humbled to own this. I'm really thankful to the previous owner who allowed me to pick this up from him, and I'm thankful to Rob Carter for making the coolest knives that I've ever seen. And clearly my collection reflects this feeling. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of this crazy BBM down in the comments below. Please click like and subscribe to my channel here. Head over to Instagram where you can follow me as Dr. Frunkey. If you enjoy the content you're seeing in these videos, you can help support me by going to patreon.com/Dr. Frunkey and helping me out. Thank y'all for watching, and as always, this is Dr. Frunkey saying, take care.